A lot of people want to change, but they don't have any real structure for how to actually do it. They might get ideas for how to do it here and there, but what they're really missing is a method for doing the work and clear instructions for how to keep doing it. And every enduring piece of inspiring architecture starts with a strong foundation in place. And if you want to make something that lasts, that's the only place to start. Once you've got that initial structure, you can build anything you want. You can make revisions and additions and even change your mind and tear the whole thing down and start again, because then you've got reliable tools and plans for making something that stands the test of time. You are the architect of your life, so you have to consider the changes that you want to make and what you want to build. Everything here is meant to help you draw out your blueprints for creating more of what you want to see showing up in the world around you. You're getting your ideas out of your head and putting them somewhere so that you can come back to them. Your thoughts take their first physical form when they're laid out in front of you like that, and they don't have to be elaborate. As a matter of fact, this works best when you start making it really simple. Once you've got that basic structure in place, you can apply it to anything that you want to build or heal or grow. And that's what this is for. That's one of the reasons I want you to take notes. Whether you write your ideas down in a notebook or just in the comments, writing your ideas down helps you make your plan. That turns this into something that you can come back to over and over again. On the good days and on the bad days, you keep building on what you've been learning. You're setting the structure for doing the work so that you can come back to it and apply it when you need it most. And we'll keep working on that blueprint, coming back to it, adding all of your insights and ideas, because this is how they all start coming together. And again, you don't need the book for this. If you want it, I'll put a link in the description and a link to download a PDF for some of the charts that I'm about to put up on the screen. But the structure is simple. What's really important now is to start talking about the process for applying it. And that starts with planned practice. This is where you start setting aside time for a daily routine that supports your mission for making a deeper connection with the real you. Even if it's just showing up here on a regular basis. I'm going to keep giving you something that you can actually do to create this new space and hold it. Practice keeps the structure in place. Without that, you might get some good ideas for what needs to be done, but this isn't just something to think about. It's something that you want to start doing and keep doing. That's how it works and why it works. And we have already talked about some of what's in this chapter for setting the structure. We've talked about the 12 principles for changing your life and the 4 common modalities for creating an ongoing practice. And I'll put some of those links in the description too, so you can go back to them if you want. But we're going to go through these over and over again in different ways. Those 12 principles that we've been talking about are the raw material for whatever you want to make and the guides for making your plans. And they relate very closely to 12 energy centers that highlight emotional attributes that can help you figure out whether each center is currently in or out of balance. And as we go along, you might find emotions that cross over into multiple categories or don't resonate with you personally. So this is where I strongly recommend that you get a notebook and write down what stands out most to you. And at some point, you will want to start making your own list of feelings that apply to each principle, because these are just examples. You can download this chart, but making your own chart is an exercise in emotional literacy and growing emotional intelligence. And that's a great way to start teaching yourself to use your feelings as they were intended. They really are tools that send out signals to let you know where you stand on this emotional scale at any time. This is how you start identifying recurring emotions and learning how to match the energy of what you want to see showing up in the world around you. And next week, we will start going through the principles one at a time, and I'll give you more specific tools to work with. And at the end of each chapter, we'll talk about how to prepare yourself for what happens in the middle of your everyday life. That's what I usually call the midlife reset. This is the stuff that you do in the middle of your everyday life to apply what you've been learning. Resetting your energy, resetting your thinking, your feelings, and your behaviors so that they all line up with what you want and where you really want to go. Those are the 4 pillars that we apply. This is where we start using them together as a system. The principles are the raw materials that we use to build the right energy, and these 4 modalities create the structure. And we'll apply all 12 principles with images that reflect each part of the practice, with a mandala for every intention, a hand gesture for every meditation, a labyrinth for every reflection, and an archetype that embodies the energy of each expression. And we can go a step further to define the energy for each part of the practice by attaching each modality to one of the 4 basic elements of nature. Intentions are the energy. They're the fire that sparks the creative process that leads to a meaningful change. Meditations change your mindset as you learn to move into the more quiet, but sometimes murky waters of the emotional space. Reflections represent thoughts as airy things that can change in an instant, and your ability to direct where that energy goes. And every expression provides the physical proof for the work that you're doing here. That's how your intentions start showing up in the world around you. And the real magic here really happens when you start putting all 4 modalities together and applying them to each principle. That's why the book is structured the way it is. Each part is designed to support each part of the process. Not just to give you ideas, but to give you something that you can actually do. So as we go through this together, I want you to think of this like you're putting together a toolkit that you can rely on and work with when things are good and when they're not. The goal here isn't just to feel a little better in this moment. It's to learn how to listen to yourself in a way that actually changes the way you live. It's something that applies to every moment. Applying those tools in different ways with insights that might show up at different times. Something might not strike you as especially meaningful at first, and then later it clicks. That's part of the process. You're creating the space for what you want to make in your life and holding that space by coming back to this over and over again. And I'm going to put together a playlist of shorts that we're going to call 1-minute meditations so that you can apply and reset that energy quickly. So you don't have to worry about getting everything right. Right now, I just want you to start asking yourself this really big what if question. What if I did it differently this time? What if I stuck with it this time? What if I saw it differently and applied it to everything until it sticks? Because I know that you can, and I know that you will if you stay with it. Keep coming back, believing that what you're doing here is useful. If everything that you've tried so far hasn't stuck with you, believe that this time is different. What if it is different this time? That's a shift in perspective that you want to make for creating this new space in your head. You're opening up the space for change and holding that space for long enough to let everything start falling into place. This is why we practice. This is the structure for the self-study practice. Take what stands out to you. Make sure you're writing things down. Take notes on any insights that come up for you and collect them. Everything that lands and sticks with you is gold. This is the gold that you've been looking for. And that's why this time is different. That's going to give you something that you can work with and build on. And as we go, I'll guide you through how to do all of it. And not just here, but in every part of your everyday life.